Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes. When you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
Yeah. What's up? Ride Along Live. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Monday on the Ride. How you guys doing? Did you miss me? I wasn't here on Friday because I had to travel. And everyone like, what happened to the trivia on Friday? Guys, I should be able to take one day off sometimes. How about that? But at least you guys know that I'm always here on a Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. All right? Amanda, how you doing? Big up yourself. Thank you so much for joining, sharing, liking. Yeah. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride, guys. Today we have a very interesting program lined up for you guys. As you guys been following out throughout the week, there was a situation that happened in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, this particular story applied to you whether you're in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you're in Trinidad, Jamaica, Grenada, no matter what. This program will help you understand your rights as it relates to policing and how to deal with situations especially when police sort of, step over the boundaries, right? How to deal with situation like that. So today we have an advocate. And if you've been following the story for the week, you would have seen the story where the social advocate, Adrianna King, and her I think her aunt and a few other protesters that was in front of Parliament, they were arrested. Now, it was funny how everything went down, guys. And it was hilarious how everything went down. A lot of people said that this police had absolutely overstepped his grounds. It was a long set of instances that followed. So we have Adrianna King on the line, and we also have her lawyer, Kay Bacchus Baptiste. She's going to explain everything, guys. So I said this program applies to you whether you're from St. Vincent and the Grenadines or you're from Grenada or Jamaica or wherever the case might be. It most likely would be the same thing that you would need to know in dealing with this situation. The rights to protest, right? And the rights to to not accept an invitation. That's the hilarious part, guys. That's the hilarious part. Anyway, share the program right now. It's Monday. It's Monday. Cheryl, how you doing? Amanda, thank you so much. Marish, everybody share. Everybody share. Everybody share. Sweetie Williams. Is that your real name, sweetie? Is that your real name? Wendy Charles? Sweetie? Let me share, guys. Let me share. I want everybody to get this message, to get this notification. Wendy Charles, how you doing? All right, guys. We ain't gonna stick any longer. Help me to introduce to you guys of course, she's been on the program just a few weeks ago. We was talking about situation affecting the Caribbean. Now she's back, caught in a dilemma. Vincent made it viral this week. Her name is Adrianna King. Adrianna, how are you?
So very, very so. From head right down. My muscles are sore. That is the most I could say at this point.
Wow, I could only imagine. And Adrianna, as I said, you made it viral this week, so you have a lot of stories to tell about you.
Unfortunately.
And of course, she is the esteemed lawyer extraordinaire. She's my go-to contact in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for many, many years. I'm happy to call her my friend, Kay Bacchus Baptiste. How are you doing, Kay?
I'm fine right along.
Yeah, as I said, I'm happy to call you we go way back. I mean, it seems like we've been at this for years, Kay.
Yeah, a long time fighting
for the cause. All right, so we all go straight in because for those of you who did not get a chance to see the video, right? I'll show you guys a quick snippet of what happened. So Adrianna King and a group was protesting in front of Parliament in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Here come these police officers who, one, failed to properly present the identification, knowing fully well they were in plain clothes. So they could have been anybody, right? They didn't properly show the identification, and let me not tell the story. Adrianna, help us understand what really happened.
Okay, do you want me to start at the point where the police officers came?
No, start at the beginning. Now, start about what were you guys initially doing there in the first place?
So my aunt was there protesting issues relating to our NIS, right? And usually when I go to these protests, I'm doing my own thing. So I had my usual placard, Ralph, the time is up, that sort of thing. And one of the police officers stationed at the gate, a black squad police officer, called me and he said, he's reminding me that we're not supposed to be within 100 yards of the Parliament building having a picket or a protest. So I explained to him that we do not have such a law in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that I am free to protest or picket anywhere I chose to. And to make matters worse, it was just a few of us. It was about like 4 or 5 of us. So, what was a big deal? He insisted that, that is what he was told. And I said, do you know the law? Do you know the section of the law? Have you ever seen this? I said, there's no such thing. And then he genuinely asked, there is no law? So I said, no, there's no such thing. Uh-huh. And then I said, hold on, let me call Mrs. Bacchus Baptiste and let her explain this to you. So I called Kay and I said to her, I have you on speaker. I am speaking to the police officers at the gate at the courthouse. And Kay spoke to them and explained to them, we don't have a law saying that you can't protest here or can't protest there. We don't have such a thing. And that conversation ended and I thought, okay, good. They understood. Another lawyer passed that, about 10 or so minutes after, another senior lawyer, Jomo Thomas, I can call his name.
Yes.
And I stopped him and I asked him, I said, Jomo, could you explain to these officers that we do not have a law saying that we can't protest here? And Jomo was like, you know, as though to say, really, we're going, and he's like, we're doing this again, something like that, he said. And I was like, yeah, we're doing this. So we went back to our different spots. I was basically just walking about with my phone. And then these guys approached me and said that they came to invite us to the police station.
But they was having a party, a fete.
I don't know. I don't know.
I like jab fete. I like to jump up a grenade. I want to wave my flag. So invitation.
I asked them. Well, they held up. They just started to be swiping because I said, you're in plain clothes. How do I know who you are? So they were, swiping this this card in front of me, and I kept saying to them, you cannot do that. If you're presenting your ID to me, I have to establish that you are police officers, and the only way I could do so is by reading what is presented on your card. And of course, you match face to face, face on the card, face in front of you, that sort of thing. The same way that a driver would present their ID to a police officer. I said, I need to see the information on your card. And funny enough, Junior, when you posted the video and I came on the thread, a gentleman on the thread, I think he goes by a form in my own party, something like that, froze one of the images of the officers presenting their ID. And all he had was his open wallet. He didn't even have a card out. He just had his open wallet. And that is how he was presenting his ID. And the other comical thing is, they actually left, and I was still trying to get their faces, and they were turning their backs to me. So how is it you're on a mission to invite somebody to a station or to arrest somebody, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're turning your back to the person? Right. And they're following them now instead of them following me. Yeah. It was all very comical.
Yeah. Well, stick up in right there. Because I wanna understand the law, okay, as it relates to protest. Right. Is there any legislation on file that says that one cannot protest within a certain space in St. Vincent or the Parliament?
Well, you know the Act,
right,
which deals with public processions and public meetings. One interpretation of that Act is that it is unconstitutional. Yeah? They have arbitrarily decided that.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm having a little bit of an issue with your audio. Your audio kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it have to do with they're definitely not hearing you properly at all. Let me see if we could fix that. Guys, you're watching Right Along Live as we try to fix the issue there relating to Kay's audio. Kay, do me a favor. Are you far from your Wi-Fi box?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Or probably, I don't know if you want to bring it up on your phone. If you want to bring up the link on your phone and call from your phone, that might be, that might be the other option. All right. So let me cut you off on this one and come on your phone. All right. Because we really want to hear what you have to say from a legal perspective. Is very important. So we also joined here, guys, by a former police officer, right, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He is a former station sergeant. And I want to understand from his perspective until we get Kay back on the line. So welcome to the Right. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. Great. So I'm happy that you could join us because you could help us put this whole situation here into perspective, right? Hold on. I think Kay is back. Kay, just say hello. Let's see your audio.
Hello.
Right. Okay. Kay. Okay. All right, Kay. I think your audio is back right now. Hold on one second, Sarge. Former sergeant. Wait. Let me get
station sergeant.
Station sergeant.
Take out the former, Junior. Take out the former. Station sergeant or sergeant.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Kay, tell us about the law as it relates to protests in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
As it relates to protest, Junior, there is no law denying a person the right to protest. We're governed by the Constitution, and we are all the United Nations conventions, all the conventions, which gives a test. So the police have been using the Public Order Act, processions and public meetings where you need to inform the police if you're going to have, and having done so, they can decide whether or not they can break it up, in the law in terms of, I think within the parliament, for the parliament, you should 200 yards from the parliament. Now, even under that act, I'm of the that act is unconstitutional. And we are going to challenge it. I think this case is and we are going to challenge the constitutionality of the act. Be that as it may, and Lucette and company were doing does not, in my mind, fall. They are stretching it to try to include the public. Actually, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they are afraid of any type of government which came into power by drastic protest. They are now trying to out kind of protest. As Adrianna said to you, it was just about persons protesting.
Yeah.
And yet they wanted to shut them down. Under the Constitution, the right to assembly, the right of freedom of expression, under the United Nations signed on to, there is an absolute right to protest. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to take it away from any subject. Trying to use the public, they have tried it before. They brought several charges under that act against the same Adrianna, about 12 charges. They had to drop every single one. They have tried to say about around the time of the petitions, when the supervisor of elections office, they tried also to say you can't come, etc., and it failed. They never carried it through. Now they are obviously, the Gonzalez government wants to close down any form of protest for his. That's why he has his police have been acting the way on Thursday.
Okay,
So,
Kay, your audio is still breaking up a bit. I don't know if it's because of the distance that you are from your Wi-Fi box. If that persists, I'm gonna have to.
I'm near to the Wi-Fi box. I'm not sure why.
Kay, I may have to call you on the WhatsApp, and we may have to do it on that, because I think your information is very valid, and I want people to have a legal understanding as to their rights where that is concerned. So I may have to take you up on the WhatsApp. So stay tuned, stay right there. Okay, so Mr. Smith, Mr. Brenton Smith, you're a former station sergeant. When you look at this arrest, what transpired there during this arrest, is it protocol, or what was not protocol about this particular invitation/arrest?
Well, it is normal for the police in the past, based on practice, to invite someone at the station if they don't want to actually do an arrest. Some person may voluntarily go to the station with the police, some may not. And if the person doesn't, the police may want to take the chance of arresting that individual by holding on to the person and take them to the station. But there must be reasons if you are going to arrest somebody. What I saw they do is that the police were very much unprepared. They didn't seem as though they were just basically sent based on instructions without having a clue as to what they were sent to do. And you could have seen it, there were lack of confidence within the police force, the individuals who are doing that in that particular case. And it really did not show a good image as to what was transpiring there and that day.
Right. So who would have given orders like this? Who would have not wanted these individuals to be there at this point in time, based on your level of understanding of the hierarchy in the police force? Who would have given that order, possibly?
Well, I cannot say directly. Definitely, who would have given that order? But Orders can come from an NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer within the police force, whether you're corporal, sergeant, station sergeant, inspector. But we're living in a very highly political climate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where politics involved in everything. And it's unfortunate that even within the police force here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, politics plays a very pivotal role in how the police operates. And that is very sad because, and we fall to all levels within the police force, even from that of the commissioner of police, and the order could have come from anywhere. It could have come from the commissioner of police. It could have come where the commissioner of police himself were given instructions, whether from the Minister of National Security, the Prime Minister, and that can happen. I'm not saying that it happened in this particular case because I don't know, but those instructions could have come from anywhere. And my difficulty though, I would not carry out unlawful instructions. It doesn't matter who it comes from.
Right.
If it is not within the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I'm not taking it out. I'm not carrying it out at all. And we have seen in the past where, because the Commissioner of Police, I just want to make this clear, the Commissioner of Police is appointed by the Prime Minister based on the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner of Police are appointed by the Prime Minister.
Yes.
To oppose advice from the Service Commission. But even if you are appointed, if you are confident that you can do the job, and then the job that you are appointed to do is going to cause controversy within members of the public based on wrongful advice or policies that which you want to carry out that is not lawful, then you won't do that. Regardless of whether or not the post would have employed you. But it's a principle standing which you have to take. Because if I'm the Commissioner of Police, I cannot be anybody's stooge. I cannot.
So you're saying that the police officers could have denied a lawful order to form the arrest? Like if say for instance the police commissioner did in fact make the call and seen what's transpiring in front of Parliament, and he ordered the police officers to go there and make that arrest, the officers could have denied.
No, it's a very thin line between this and discipline. It's a very, very thin line. And one has to be very careful even when they define or denying instructions.
Right.
But if at the end the instructions for yourself is not lawful, I don't think you want to carry out unlawful instructions. And it was a very thin line, but one has to be very much certain that what they are doing or going against instructions, that it is unlawful. Because of course you can backfire and hurt you.
Right.
But one will want to be very, very mindful of that.
right.
But even when you're given instructions, the instructions must be clear. Because you don't want your police officer to go outside and looking like dummies. You understand? The instructions must be clear so they will know and go to confident as to what they are doing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you made a point there. I think we have Kay back on the now Kay, come back on the WhatsApp. Kay, come back on the WhatsApp. I think it's better on the WhatsApp. Kay, are you there? Kay, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Kay,
I don't know what's going on.
no, Kay, go back on the WhatsApp. We prefer you on the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp would be better.
All right. Let me log off and come back.
No, I've seen you on the WhatsApp now. Stay right there, Kay.
Oh, you seen me?
Yeah, I've
okay,
seen you on the WhatsApp. Stay right there. All right, guys. So we got Kay on the WhatsApp. It's very important that we get Kay's point of view. She's a lawyer there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Kay, I think we got your video one side. Kay, turn your phone the other way. Turn your phone the other way. Right. Perfect.
All right.
Like that. Perfect. We got you now. All right, Kay, so go ahead. Tell us again. We got your audio much better. Tell us again about the law as it relates to protesting in front of Parliament, the distance and what is to be expected if you were to carry out something like that.
Okay. In relation to protesting, there is no law that prohibits any individual from protesting any particular place. Because obviously, if you want to protest the Prime Minister's office, you're not going to go to the Ministry of Education to protest. If you protest in something with Parliament, you would go outside of Parliament. And that is what a democracy is about. It is enshrined in our Constitution, the right to protest. It is under the United Nations conventions, which we are signed on to. And there is there are many articles written on the right to protest. What this government is doing, which to my mind is illegal, they passed an act called the Public Orders Act. And under that act, they are trying to outlaw processions and meetings except with the police consent. And also, you have to stay within a particular distance from certain named places, as for example, the courthouse when Parliament is in session. Now, obviously, the reason for this, or the courthouse itself when court is in session, this is where you have a loud meeting, with speakers, and that would be the reason behind that. Right. Where there's a public meeting going on with loudspeakers and whistles blowing and maybe drums banging and persons speaking, and it may interrupt the court or it may interrupt Parliament. That is the reason behind the Public Order Act. What this government is doing is try to use, or I should say misuse and abuse the Public Order Act to outlaw protest in St. Vincent. They tried it before. They arrested Adrianna and a number of protesters about 2 years ago who were having a public protestation then because they had advertised it and it was organized and persons came out, a big massive demonstration, and they tried to use the same Public Order Act. But we resisted, and even though they brought about 12 or 14 charges, they dropped all of them. They had tried before, I think, with Lucette to also bring a charge of protesting within 100 yards of, it was the supervisor of elections office. That did not go anywhere. So now they come with this, which is so ludicrous because this was not an organized meeting. This was not a public meeting per se. This was a handful, literally a handful, 4 or 5 persons who each protested in their own way, their own issues. It was not a public meeting. And so it is, to my mind, a complete misuse and abuse of the Public Order Act. And we are going to challenge it, not only on bring a constitutional motion to challenge what they're doing, but also challenge it, of course, when we go to court to defend these 4 persons who were arrested and charged. Yeah. It is unacceptable, and we will not allow for the Gonzalez government, which came into office through far more drastic protests than what these people are doing, to shut out and to rob our democracy and steal our right to lawfully protest.
Yeah. Again, guys, we're talking about this incident that happened there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have Kay Bacchus Baptiste, and she's a lawyer there, and of course, social media advocate, Ms. King. Adrianna, when the police came, did you take them serious? Because it to me, it seemed like he was joking. It seemed like you felt that they was joking with you and he was just like having fun. Did you take them serious?
I'll be honest with you, Junior. When we're called unions, etc., to come to protest, I usually pack a little protest bag because it seems as though my family, it seems as though I am a target to, the Commissioner of Police. So we're always the first to be picked up by the police. But this morning, as you noticed, I was dressed in a casual, breezy cotton dress and slippers. I obviously did not have any protest bag. All I had was a handbag with some tissue and a bottle of water and some beet juice. So I did not go there thinking that I would end up at the barracks. So, and remember too, by the time these guys came, 2 lawyers had already explained to the officers who were stationed at the courthouse that we had no such law. So when these guys came now, I was there like, are you serious? And I don't know, maybe I really did not take them serious because I did not see a reason for me to be arrested or for anyone else to be arrested. It was just my aunt, Patches Knights, and two or so other persons. That's it. That's it. We did not even have any sturdy sort of placard. There was no vuvuzela or anything like that. There wasn't any sort of drumming or noise making, nothing of the sort. So I really was not sure if they were seriously thinking of arresting me or not. I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Officer Smith, I know you're not an officer anymore, but I still refer to you as, I guess to say, once officer, always. Tell us about the presentation of identification, and how should an officer, and when should an officer present the identification? Because as Adrianna said, they basically just kind of swipe it quick in front of your face like that. Like they didn't even want it to be seen. When should an officer show his ID, and how should an officer show his ID?
Okay, as soon as the officer approaches a person who they believe are a suspect, they will take their identification card, maybe from their wallet, might be in their pocket, it might be hanging over on a string over their necks. They will actually show the individual. They are a police officer. They won't give the individual, because quite obvious that there are instances in which persons took it and destroyed it, sort of. Even in arrest warrants, the officers tends not to give the person, because the person already take it and rip it up. We have an experience and circumstances of that nature before. So the officer will show the person that they can see the ID card, and they will read, okay, I'm Officer Smith from the traffic department or from the criminal investigation department, and they outline their business.
Right.
But they don't, and they will not give you the ID to hold. They will hold it at a distance where you can see it, of course, and identify themselves in the process of doing so.
So, especially if they're in plain clothes, because you cannot identify if they're some kind of kidnapper on the block or just a regular person. They have to present it like, this is my ID. You could clearly see it. What would be the reason for them not wanting to show their ID then?
Well, I can't understand why a person would not want to show the ID, because I will tell you this, even uniformed police officers these days around the world, around the Caribbean, are having the ID cards to identify themselves. And there's a reason why uniformed police officers will carry a number, so that they can be identified by the public in the event that something happens, that they can lodge a report against the officer. You understand? So it is a reason for officers to have an identification card with them, so that they can properly identify that they are who they say they are. And it's very strange that an officer would not want to show persons their ID.
Yeah, and that's what I don't quite understand. So, Adrian, I want you to start back from there again and continue what happened up to the point where you found out that those guys were seriously going to arrest you.
Well, these guys were not going to arrest me. I figured that, because they were offering an invitation to the station.
Right. Okay.
And my aunt said to them, I don't have any friends in the station, so no, I will not be going with you to the station. And she asked them over and over, are we under arrest? I think they said yes at one point, and we asked, what is the reason? And they could not give a reason, and eventually they just left. They just left us there. Because we kept asking them, if you're going to arrest us, or if you say that we're under arrest, what is the charge? Why are you arresting us? And they could not say. They couldn't. And so they left.
So when you ask him what was the charge, what he said?
Say that again, sorry.
When you ask him what was the charge, what did he say?
They fumbled. I'll be honest that I have not, revisited the video totally, but I remember them fumbling and they could not say exactly what a charge, what the charge was. They couldn't clearly articulate it. And so I kept asking them, what is it? What is it? I think at one point they mumbled something about picketing, 100 yards from the courthouse. I think at some point they said that. So.
Stick up in there again, because I want to kind of get the legal aspect behind. Now, Kay, making an arrest, an officer making an arrest. At what point must the officer tell the individual why they are being arrested? What is the procedure for that?
Obviously, you tell them before you arrest them.
Yeah.
If you come to arrest someone, you say you're under arrest for etc., etc., and then you may touch the person or you may indicate that they come with you. This thing about grabbing onto people and pushing them, as they did with Lucette King, is an absolute assault, and the police will have to pay for that. I don't know if you played that video.
Yes.
Where the policeman actually grabbed Lucette and pushed her into a vehicle, and then someone else held on to her, and then now there are several things wrong with that. You are arresting, you say, a woman, an elderly woman, but a female. It is not acceptable for a male police officer to grab onto a female person unless it is something that they cannot avoid and say you're arresting them. But there was a woman there, because as they put her into the van, I realized the woman was there. So that is another thing that was wrong, for the man to manhandle Miss King like that. And as I said, I was listening to it also, and they did not say what they were arresting her for. She kept asking, and they were mumbling, they were inarticulate. It is clear that the police themselves did not know why they were there. They were just carrying out instructions.
They was carrying out instructions without even knowing what or why, or the reason behind why they're doing it. So, Mr. Smith, you were speaking earlier, and I want to reiterate that, right? That if given a specific order and a police officer deemed that that order is unlawful, that police officer could withdraw from that unlawful order, because then it's on him, right? Based on what you've seen, what was unlawful thus far, from the showing of the ID to the fumbling of giving information as to why they arrest, to the actual grabbing and pushing them, manhandling them into the vehicle? Hold on, you go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not saying that anything was unlawful during the time of that. The issue of unlawful instruction was referring to when given to an officer by a senior person. That is the aspect of which you were referring to. However, on the scene there, and I think Kim made mention of it, it is not unlawful for a male. I don't think it's unlawful for a male, based on the law, to arrest a female. However, common sense prevails, and based on the practice, we would ask females to arrest females, because there are some issues that can come out of that. By doing it, and there was clear evidence of what transpired there, that it was not in the best of interest at that time for the officer to arrest, and you had a female on the spot, so there was no need for him at all to do it. But it's not unlawful for him to do it. But then again, come on, you are dealing with a woman, and that woman could have been your mother. You understand? Where's the human nature in this? Where's the respect, for your fellow citizens? I've always asked my officers in the past that when posted on the protest line, they can be your mother, your father, your friend who you sat in school for many years with. We can do our jobs, without being like this.
Right.
You understand? Because you do not know if the person whom you are treating badly is one of your colleagues. So we can do it with some respect. We can do our duty with a lot of love and get a lot of results out of it. So I'm really and truly disappointed in the way in which the police really would have dealt with that matter in particular. We could do much better. But you see, these things are accepted by, unfortunately, the hierarchy of the organization. And forces believe there's no accountability for police action. And that is why we continue to have these incidents of police brutality and harassment, because the top seems not to be able to want to deal with these issues. And it is sad, because this is a point in time in which the police are asking the public to assist them in their community policing effort.
Yeah.
And this certainly is a blunder for what would have transpired. How you want the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to help you in the issues of fighting crime and come together as a society with love and peace, when you within yourself, your action saying something different. You know, and it's very unfortunate and sad.
Yeah, yeah. Adrianna, I want to go back to that point again because I have the video clip. I'm going to cue it up there. The officer went up to your aunt and they sort of pulled her into the vehicle. At that point in time, that batch of officers, did they identify or did they establish why they wanted you guys know, or did they tell you that you was under arrest?
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay. These officers came from, or they are in the special service unit. I hope I got that right, Brenton. And they're wearing the camouflage.
Yeah.
So I did assume that they were, legit. And they came and told us that we were under arrest. One of the officers did that. And I asked him why. And he kept saying, because we're protesting. And then he said 200 yards outside of the Parliament building. And, one of the things I kept asking all of these officers to indicate to me the 200 marker, because it's not the first time we've been hearing it, but nobody has been able to establish that, okay, this is the 200 mark. But anyways, I insisted that there was no such...
Yards or feet? How do you guys... Oh, yards, okay.
Yards. And I sent you some photos on WhatsApp, Junior.
Yeah.
That were compiled by a gentleman by the name of Kent Thomas just today to show exactly what 200 yards away from the Parliament building would look like. And so it is now the most amusing thing on Facebook for us Vincentians. So I don't know if you could bring those up at some point.
I think I could pull it up here. Okay.
Right. So 200 yards puts us like blocks away from Parliament.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing is, when we're having protests, organized protests, the police would put a barricade at the market. And clearly from these pictures, even that spot where they usually have us there barricaded, it is still within that 200 yards that they say we shouldn't be. But anyways, back to the officers. They said that it's about the protest, about being 200 yards within that 200 yards from the Parliament. And I insisted that there was no such law. It was during this time of me speaking to who I assume to be the arresting officer, that this other officer, Roy Sell Davis, just launched his attack and went straight for my aunt. So that conversation between the officer and me ended abruptly.
I think I have some cue of the video right here where he pulled. I'll try to cue it up. I'll try to cue it up there. Kay, I'll bring you back in because here's what I don't understand. I didn't see any law being broken up until this point. I mean, it is unclear to me as to why all of this. Why does special service unit have to come and arrest these 5 individuals who are clearly unarmed? They're standing there with a placard. So I don't see the illegality in this. Okay, I don't know if I'm missing something, as I said in the vlog. I don't know if I'm missing something. You could help me in what I'm missing. Why all the big hoopla over this?
Clearly, Junior, it is an overkill. Obviously, as I said, there was no loudspeakers. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, there were no loudspeakers. They didn't even have placards. There were no noises. It's clearly that what the aim is to intimidate. That's the only reason. The aim is to intimidate protesters so that there will be no protest against the Gonzales government. So they think that if they bring out officers in uniform and it is like they're showing off their authority, abusing their power, then persons will. This message is not only for the well-known protesters, This message is for every Vincentian. What they want to do is to intimidate and put fear in the hearts of all Vincentians, so that in the event that a protest is planned and persons are called out, they will not come. So it is nothing but fair, and that is why I am proud of those two ladies and the gentleman who stood up and I'm sure will continue to stand up and lead Vincentians.
Yeah. So Adrianna, you now were taken into the police station. What happened after that point? After you were taken into the car and whisked away?
I keep saying the funny thing is because this whole situation is just so comical.
Yeah.
But after my aunt was placed in the vehicle, pushed into this vehicle, and the other lady got in, I was still filming, and the driver of the vehicle told me to step back because he wants to leave. And so I stepped back. At this point, the officer who I was speaking to first from the special service unit, he's like, no. She's going to.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh, I am going to. I'm under arrest too. And then he says, yes, you're under arrest too, whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, so what do I do? And then he says, okay, go in the vehicle. So I tried to go in from the side closest to me, but couldn't. And so I had to go around the back, and that's when I saw Patches sitting at the back of the pickup there. And I was like, oh, no, they have Patches up in there. And by the time I got around to the other side, there's Patches there. That's Patches.
Yeah.
One of the Black Squad officers came and he opened the door. Now, that same officer who attacked my aunt also tried to attack me. And I had to say about 8 or so times, I do not want him near me. I do not want him near me. I feel threatened with him near me. And the SSU police officer was like, you feel threatened? I said, yes, I feel threatened because look at what he just did to my aunt. And it was another Black Squad officer who had to tell him to step back. And 3 of the SSU officers stood between Ransel Davis and me to avoid him coming at me. So I got into the vehicle eventually, and I was still filming. The driver asked that we not film, and I told him, I asked why, but I ended the live because I wanted to ensure that it was posted. Right. Because the other thing to it, these officers, and they did it with my cousin Ken's son, they take our phones without an order from a judge. If they so desire, they just take our things. So I said, in case somebody were to come and grab my phone, let me end the live, post on Facebook. And then I took a photo of the 3 of us in the back to timestamp the hour in which we were arrested. Because the other thing that you have to be aware of is that when they arrest us, they like to keep us overnight, and they like to stretch it out as much as possible. And sometimes they go beyond what is legal, what is lawful. So I made sure I took that photo as an idea of the time in which we were arrested. So we were taken to the main station, Central Police Station. I don't know if you want me to continue or you want to pause.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So we're taken to the Central Police Station, and there's a little thing here that I can't even say too much on right about now, Junior, because Roycell Davis is claiming that he arrested 4 persons on that day. He's claiming that he arrested Adrianna King, Luzette King, Robert Patches Knights King, and what's his name? Mofford. What's Mofford's first name? It just slipped me there.
John Mofford.
No.
John.
Say that again?
John. Yeah.
Right, John Mofford. And I will say to you plainly, he did not arrest us, okay? And the most comical of all of those claimed arrests, would be that of John Mofford. And I would say nothing else at this point. But stay tuned for that. Now, we got to CID. I went up the stairs last, and I met my aunt Patches and the lady who was also arrested standing there. And I said, why y'all standing outside here? What's going on? And nobody responded. So I said, did anybody come to say what's going on? They said no. I said, you know what? Let me go in and find out from them what is happening. So I went into the CID and I met John Mofford. So I was like, okay, all right. I said a little, we exchanged a few, and I was like, all right, we'll deal with this. And I asked the officers exactly what is happening. Why are we here? And they're like, oh, nobody told you why y'all have been arrested. I was like, no, nobody is yet to say why we're being arrested. And eventually the others came inside. We were given seats, and it taught them about, I see my auntie's on here, so she could help me out. I think it took them about 2 or 3 hours
Mm-hmm.
to finally give us a charge. Could be more than that, because we would have been taken up somewhere around 1. I don't think we were charged until around 5 or so in the evening. And even then, Junior, I thought, because of the nature of what they were saying, because they were saying the whole protest matter. I spoke to a Richards, I think he's superintendent of police. Brenton could help me out here. And his thing was, we could be arrested on suspicion. I said, okay, fine. But even if somebody's arrested on suspicion, suspicion of what? What are you suspecting me of doing, or what do you think I'm going to do? What is the reason for the suspicion? Because suspicion alone can't be a reason to arrest somebody. It has to be suspicion of something.
Yeah.
And he couldn't say anything. Then he came back and he said, oh, because you're all picketing within 200 yards of the parliament. I say, okay, hold on. And, he was very, I guess it was, to use as cordial. He spoke to us. We were communicating. We were going back and forth. And I asked him, I said, okay, this is something that I have been asking before. I asked officers before you. Could you please show me in black and white, that law that states we cannot protest within 200 yards of the parliament? I said, please show that to me. And he's like, you asked for that before? I said, yes. And Kay Bacchus Baptiste would have challenged that before. I said, the matters before, when y'all took us up about, to say we were protesting, you could not give us a protesting charge. And so you came up with this whole thing about public processions and meetings. So please, please, please show me in black and white where it says I cannot protest in front of the parliament. He went, he came back, he quoted a section, and he said that states you cannot be within there when they're having parliament at a meet. I said, but we were not having a meeting. We were protesting. There's a big difference. And the charges did not hold before. Why do you think they're going to hold? No. So then eventually I said, you know what? We would have to really and truly challenge this in court, and let's get this matter going. It might have taken another hour or two for us to be given the charges, for us to be cautioned, as they put it. And then is when the young lady, the woman, I'm not sure how old she is, who was taken up with us, magically disappeared. I'm asking my aunt, where is the other lady? And then she said, oh, they took her outside to be cautioned. So I said, but why would they take her outside to be cautioned when the other, we are in here and they're cautioning us in here? Why would they take her outside? It was about 40 or so minutes afterwards, and we finally realized that they had released her. But nobody told us that they had released her, nor did they tell us why they had released her. So one protester was released, and the others were kept charged and held there, detained overnight. Now we were sitting there, and at one point, you're there thinking, okay, you're hungry and that sort of thing. I could have asked somebody to come to bring me something to eat, but I was very convinced that I was not going to stay there overnight. And so I told the officers, I will eat something when I'm released, when I could have a nice shower and relax and, not eat now with an unsettled stomach.
Right.
I was very convinced I was leaving there that night. It turned out that was not the case. We stayed there, and my aunt was taken to the hospital because of what happened with Royce L. Davis. She went to get a checkup, but she was brought back because the hospital couldn't see her at the time. And they said that she could either come back the night or the morning, go somewhere else in the morning. Later on in the evening, because we were there hungry, we were tired, we were sitting on these chairs for hours. And that's another thing. The chairs are very uncomfortable, and you're seated there. You're not
Right.
allowed to walk around the station or anything like that. You're just seated there on these chairs. And eventually, I started feeling a bit woozy.
Mhm.
And so, after the gentlemen were taken away, and again, we did not know where they were. They just came and called them, and that's after after we were cautioned. They just came, took them. We didn't know where they were. Nobody was
Right.
telling us anything at this point. And they were saying to us that they were going to take us down to Kittel's police station. I stayed a weekend. I was held a weekend in Kittel's police station, and that was nothing more than torture.
Wow.
And they tortured my aunt in a similar fashion before. Kittel's police station is grimy. It is the cell is covered in feces. It stinks of urine. The bathroom that they showed me the night was so filthy. A female officer showed it to me. And as soon as she came out of that bathroom with me, she went straight over to the door where they had a sanitization, whatever, and
Mhm.
sanitized her hands all up to her shoulders.
Wow.
That's how filthy she felt just going into that bathroom to show me. And mind you, there was no light in this bathroom, so she had to use her phone, and there were like back droppings and all sorts of fecal matter in the bathroom itself. So my aunt and I were adamant that we were not going back to Kittel's.
Right.
We asked to be taken to the hospital, and it's a good thing that we did this because it was the first time in my life that I had a high blood pressure reading. That machine just started beeping and went straight up to red, and it was just there going.
Right.
And I was like, what? My aunt was really worried because the reading was extremely high. It went, like I said, it went to red and it was beeping incessantly. She too had a high reading, and we stayed there for about maybe an hour or two. Then the officers who took us down came and they said that, all right, they're taking us back to Central and not to
Well,
Kingston,
I
not
guess
to
that was a big relief for you, not going back down to Ketel.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. It really was. That place. And at Kittel's, what they have there are just planks of wood that they put together in some sort of square looking something to
Right.
mimic a bed. And that's what you sleep on.
Wow.
Just bare, hard planks of wood.
Right.
And again, these conditions are torturous.
Yeah.
We have signed enough conventions, enough agreements around the world to state that we would treat people being held by the police with decency and acknowledging that they're human beings.
Yeah.
And those conditions at our prisons and at our holding cells, not even animals would stay in these places. Not even animals.
Kate, do you think, based on all this information presented here, do you think that your clients were somehow targeted?
That is very clear, exactly what I think. It is strange, as Adrianna said, that the other woman who they arrested, who has not been arrested before, that she just disappeared. I am not sure what her name is. I went to the police station to visit them when they were arrested, and I spoke with all of them, including her. And she was sitting in the group with them, but they decided that she was not one of the kings, and so they let her go. Clearly, again, it was intimidation. It was victimization. And as Adrian was speaking about the conditions, I mean, the conditions at the cells, all the cells in St. Vincent, but even in the main city, Kingstown, it is deplorable. I mean, the men who were kept in one of the cells said that there was actual feces on the floor, not just markings, and there was water running in the cell. That is inhumane conditions, unacceptable. And I'm hoping that this will galvanize the public more to recognize the conditions under which they keep human beings in a cell. The law prescribes for a male and a female cell at every police station.
Mm-hmm.
However, they do not do that. So their justification for taking Adrianna or wanting to take Adrianna and Lucette down to Kettles was that they have somewhere where they could put them as females, because when I spoke with the police officer when Lucette refused to go, he said that the accommodation was better there for them. So they were keeping the men in Kingstown but taking the ladies to Kettles. Well, the police regulations speak to having a cell for male and a cell for female. So
Right.
they are totally in breach of that because they do not have that, even in Kingstown, much more in the other districts. And as I said, the deplorable conditions under which those cells are, it is a matter for human rights organizations to take up. And I'm hoping that persons will in fact take up that issue, because no human being should be kept under those conditions. As regards the failure to provide meals, the law prescribes for 2 meals a day, depending on what time you're picked up.
Mm-hmm.
But these persons were kept without anything at all. Adrianna will explain that next morning when I went came to court to try and get bail for her. She said she was so hungry because she hadn't eaten a thing
Wow.
since around midday the day before. And this was about 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning, almost 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so that again is something that should be taken up, because they breach these regulations all the time.
Yeah.
With impunity.
For someone that's watching,
Keeping them.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
Keeping them overnight was also it was, again, I think it was a matter just as Adrianna thought she would go home. They kept them there overnight again out of spite. Any police officer, even a constable, could have granted them their own bail or granted them bail with a surety. But when I spoke with the police officer who was in charge of them, he said that he was given directions to keep them there overnight.
Directions from who? Directions from who? Who gave that directions now?
Obviously from his superiors. From his superior. It had to come from right up top. So I took up my phone and I tried to get in touch with John, the commissioner of police, but it was fruitless. I tried many times. I could not get him.
Wow. The inhumane treatment, and Adrianna, I feel it for you. Going through all of that stuff, and I remember speaking to you after you were so tired and weak and stressed out. I just could imagine the traumatic experience that you had going through this unnecessary arrest. I deem it as unnecessary because I still don't see why you was hauled into the police station. Why you guys was hauled into the police station. Smith, based on folks that's watching right now, folks from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, folks from Grenada and all over the Caribbean that's watching, what is there a learning curve here? Is there something that we could all learn from this, both from a civilian perspective, and you could also talk about it from a policing perspective as well? Hold on, let me unmute you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to let you know this. I've had conversation with many officers after this particular incident. Many of them are very disturbed. They're not in support of what transpired. And, they themselves felt bad because what those persons who are on the front line they're doing, was bringing awareness to a very important matter here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Mm-hmm. That involves the NIS, National Insurance Services here in St. Vincent, and our pension. That our pension seems to be in jeopardy. A number of persons are so scared as to what will become of their pension, including officers, many of whom would ask, what are we doing? And, I'm not representing my political party tonight, but many of them will ask us, what are the NDP doing to assist us and ensure that our pensions are safe? And to react in this way, by police officers who persons you can't fight for yourself, you can't speak for yourself, people are doing it for you. But yet, I'm not saying you shouldn't do your jobs. Police officers should all do their job. But to come back and do it in this manner for something such as important like this, where they are fighting for you, you can't help yourself, they're trying to help you, and they turn around, basically, and push them over the cliff. That is uncalled for. Now, there's a lot of lessons going to learn from this. I mean, it shows you that there's a need for a closer relationship between the public and the police.
Yes.
But that is even now going to be more difficult. But we can't give up. We can't just shoot over. We have to continue to fight. But it also shows that there still need to be clear policies that governs our officers when they're out on duty. You know, I remember when I was in the police force, the regional security system, organized for each Caribbean country within the OECS to have policies that will help to shape police forces within the Caribbean to come up at international standard. 182 policies were drafted that can prevent some of the ills that are taking place here. What happened? One of those policies alone were implemented. One of 182. An OECS, RSS, Regional Security System initiative to push that. The public don't need to take a killer interest as to what is transpiring here. Because today might be for the kings and other persons, but tomorrow might be for you. You understand? And we all have to understand that this is not a communist country. A lot of persons may want to believe it is. I don't want to go down that direction. But let us don't wait or give politicians the opportunity to carry us down that road. We are a very resilient person. We are very caring and loving. I must say though that the Rav Gonsalves-led administration have done in a negative way a great job in dividing the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is also sad for us.
Yeah. Again, guys, I always try to take a situation and see what we could learn from this and what the region could learn from this from a policing perspective, from a civilian perspective. And I hope that, the police that carry out this task, and even the other police that's watching, don't see this as a way that's how you handle people to get results. I think that being more civil and humane, you get better results in these respects. And I know King feel that she's targeted. I've seen Kenson King as well arrested from his house. A whole set of, it seems like if it's targeted attack against them. I don't know if I know King Adrianna, what you do, girl? I mean, I don't understand. I'm not living there, but this is crazy to see what transpired after this very casual incident, which I think could have been pacified or done better. But Adrianna, I'm happy that you're doing well. I'm happy that you're doing much better. And tell us about it. We have about 5 minutes ago again to finish up. Tell us about the charges, and we'll get information as to what's the next move as far as it relates to those charges.
Okay. But sorry.
Yeah, the charges.
Okay, I was saying before I give you the charge, because we all got the single charge.
Yeah.
Kim mentioned the whole idea of being targeted, and you mentioned that too, and the whole idea of keeping us at the station out of spite. And I do believe that the order to keep us at the station came from Colin John, the Commissioner of Police, because while Kay was busy trying to call Colin John or try to reach him on the phone, he was busy cursing us in the station. He made several trips through the CID just so that he could throw words at us. He called me a big fat slob. He called my aunt. He told my aunt that she needs to go and have a bath, even though he was trying to send us down to Kittels, which was filthy, And so he himself was there taunting us at the police station. And so that is why I know that we are targeted and that we were kept there simply because of spite. At the end of it all, we were charged with not, I'm trying to recount the exact charge, but more or less not dispersing from a public meeting that was being held within 200 yards of the Parliament building while the Parliament was in session. That was the basic charge.
Right, which a public meeting was, which was not really a meeting to begin
We
with.
weren't having any meeting. I was protesting.
Yeah, yeah, it was a protest. We got a caller on the line. Let's take this call real quick. Caller live. Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, Junior.
Hey,
This is Doug Howard.
Doug Howard.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, my brother?
Yeah, man. I good. I calling you from St. Vincent.
Yes.
I am in the land of my birth.
Yes.
And as I listen to the program with Sergeant Smith and Adrianna and Attorney Kay Bacchus,
Yes.
I am saddened because I could have been one of the people arrested if I wasn't doing something that was pressing, because I was intending to go with my friend Patrick Knight, who was arrested, to protest, because the protest is not for me, because as a United States citizen and retired, I am getting my pension. But my problem with the pension system in St. Vincent and why I agree with the protest is because the pension system in St. Vincent, they have not received no cost of living increase in over 10 years. Oh, it's more than 10 years. They hasn't got one single penny of cost of living increase, which is a dangerous thing, because the government is bleeding every dime out of the NIS and doing a lot of nonsense. Like, for instance, they are giving monies to people who has never contributed one single penny, but because they are political hacks of the government, they are now getting certain amount of money from the INS. The Prime Minister is taking the NIS money and giving it to school children who get a certain amount of subject, $500, all because they are now the new voters coming on stream. And all this is bleeding the NIS, which will leave Vincentian worse off than they ever been. So that's the reason why I was going to the protest. And just the spirit tell me, man, listen, do what you gotta do and deal with that later. And I did, because I probably would have been one who they are very happy to arrest in St. Vincent because of my public speaking out for the wrongdoings of the government. And I am saddened. And one more thing, Junior, the way I saw the policeman abuse my good friend Luther King, and so many people stand up there and ain't do nothing. Junior, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is weak. Very, very, very weak. And that is one of the biggest problems that we're suffering, because none of them want to stand up for their rights. And they expect you to go and stand up for their rights, because the rights of these same protesters that was locked up, they was fighting for the police, the very same police who locked them up. They was fighting for them to secure the pension when they are retired.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is ludicrous, Junior. Junior, this is ludicrous. And let me tell you something. I said this and I go. I hope none of them ever, ever, ever come and put their hands on me like they did Luther King, because it will be a different world in St. Vincent.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much for calling. Someone said, Adrianna, someone said here that, yeah, but this protest is not the issue, it is the location. So if you was asked to move from a close proximity of the parliament, then you just move. Why didn't you just move?
Junior, I really did that person stay on this show, listen to Kay Bacchus Baptiste, listen to Mr. Brenton Smith, and still ask such a question? let me try to, give them the answer clearly here. The reason why we stayed there, it is because it's our constitutional right to protest anywhere in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's why we stayed there. And what the police were doing was unlawful. Okay, Miss Frederick, I hope that answers your question.
All right. We got you there. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much for joining. We have a hard stop in the next 2 minutes. Let's go around for Kay, are you still there with us? I see you on the line right now. Kay? Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes,
Kay,
you're hearing me.
Let me see if I'm hearing you properly, Kay. Yes, I think I'm hearing you better now. We have a 2 minutes hard stop time on the live, Kay. So give us some closing statements. What is to become of all of this going forward? The next step, the legal next step. You could turn the camera too, because I'm seeing the screen.
Okay. I'm saying is that you're seeing it?
No.
I don't know where it's going to.
Turn the camera. I'm seeing like you're pointing the camera towards the monitor, the TV.
But I didn't.
That's fine. That's fine. You could go ahead. You could just speak.
Well, they go to court on the 23rd, I think it is, Adrianna. And of course, we go to defend. I'm going to be defending them to the hilt. Take a constitutional challenge to the Public Order Act also. And why I like your program tonight and why I want person in what really went wrong. I like it where the police went wrong. Is that our democracy to be taken over? We can't be taking away the rights of persons like that, and without fighting. If the police is allowed to continue arresting who are conducting protests, lawful protests, and then just now it will not. Everybody will be afraid to come out and to do anything. And to be honest, I think that is the aim of this administration, and for persons to stand up for their rights. That is why it is important to answer the question asked, why not just move? If you do that, you will be saying rights, and we cannot do that. And that is why Adrianna and the others did not move, because to take away your constitutional God-given rights of freedom of assembly and the right to protest, raise your voice in protest. It happens all, not going to allow this ULP administration to erode. They're going to fight all the way. And so it is very, very important that they did not move. The eyes of the world are on St. Vincent and the Grenadines through programs like this for caring.
Absolutely. We're going to continue to follow this case there and update our viewers on what transpired from here. Adrianna King, thank you so much. Mr. Brenton Smith, we thank you so much and appreciate your time to chat with us. Adrianna, we'll keep you in touch. Or keep us in touch on what's going on from here. Kay, thanks again. We'll keep in touch. All right, Kay?
Okay, then. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Guys, we got a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't move.
Phillips Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc., providing exceptional carpet and cleaning, floor installation, refinishing, home renovations, drywall, painting, plastering, doors and moldings, electrical and plumbing, and much more. We are a one-stop shop for all your professional needs. Give us a call today on 718-221-5572. That is 718-221-5572. Or you can call our cell on 917-939-3192. Check out our sales on all services. We're located at 218 Schenectady Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Phillips Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. daily picture cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program today. There we go. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of our program today, guys. Don't forget, Right Along Live, where everyone have a story to tell. To my family and friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I will be in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in sometime early April. Looking forward to see you guys there. Right along. So we're going to be in Grenada on the 12th, St. Vincent, I think, on the 10th. All right. Yeah, I think I'll be in St. Vincent on the 10th. But we want to see you guys in St. Vincent, all the fans and supporters of St. Vincent. Looking forward to see you guys there. All right. Thanks again for watching, guys. Right Along Live, where everyone have a story to tell. And if you guys have not been getting notification, we're gonna try to find out from Facebook why that's not happening. All right. So because a lot of people been complaining on my WhatsApp for the whole night, they didn't get any notification. So we'll try to see what Facebook have to say about that. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Good night.
Saturday, March 18th, it's time to report for duty as New Face Promotion presents Revo Dance 19.
Do you know what it means to have a revolution?
Revo Dance 19.
With love and not
all taking place at 178 Newport Street, Brooklyn, New York. Get your $40 tickets now. More at the door. For ticket info, contact 347-304-5453. And you must be 21 and over. Music by Exterminator Sound. Live from Canada. From New York, Joe Bailey, Silence, No Apology, DJ Synergy, and DJ Hot Stepper. Table and bottle packages available. Dress code Army Green or camouflage. A special prize for the best dress, male or female. And listen, when you buy your ticket early, you can win a return ticket with JetBlue to Grenada in the month of May and June 2023. It's Revo Dance 19, Saturday, March 18, 178 Newport Street.